Hey, I'm Jeff. In my hands, as you can tell, is a banjo. For the longest time, I've enjoyed bluegrass music, so for one holiday, I put a banjo on my wish list. Big mistake. Even after dozens of lessons, I'm still this good. As you can tell, the banjo teacher wasn't able to help that much, but I learned a valuable lesson. If you want to do something, life's too short to ignore your opportunities. Get out there and at least try. The other thing I've always wanted to do is to be on stage or on camera, and I've accomplished that, or some of that, with my critically acclaimed television show, Nom X3. But I want to take that further and tell stories, share adventures, and show others how to enjoy the world around them. That's why I started this. This is With Jeff. Roll intro. Talk about an intro. Before we jump into the meat of With Jeff, I better give you a quick overview of what you're going to get from me today and every day that we do the show. First, you're going to get real opinions. Nothing watered down. I'm going to rant about some topics. I'll rave about others. The entire premise of With Jeff is to be with Jeff as he informs you, me, entertains, and delights you. My main goal is to take us both on adventures that enrich our lives. I'll do that by interviewing people, reviewing products, and by sharing stories in my own style, so you'll walk away from this TV screen a little smarter and a little richer. Each episode is 30 minutes long, so grab a refreshing beverage, I've got mine here, and join me, Jeff, as you take a journey with Jeff. Oh, in case you're wondering, today's show shapes up like this. I'm going to discuss traffic around Hingham and the South Shore. I'll touch on some of the machinations underway that could cause headaches for local drivers. And I'll explore the wider topic of idiots on the roadway. Do you have a car? I do, and I drive it all over the place. In a few years of ownership, my car now has 115,000 miles on it, so I've been a few places. But one of the increasingly difficult places to go, outside of major metropolitan areas like Boston or LA, is a stretch of road between North Hingham and the towns of Hull and Cohasset. You know why? It's because people don't know how to drive. They don't know how to operate their oversized vehicles. For just a moment, I wish I had a time machine and some magic elves and all the power in the world to affect people's actions. If that were possible, I'd jump into the minds of billions of people simultaneously and convince them with a Jedi mind trick that small cars were the answer to happiness. Using blinkers would make them better looking and more attractive to their partners, and going the speed limit would actually not result in measurable lateness on anyone's part. Europe, for all its quirky rules and traditions, has found a way to do transportation correctly. Their trains run on time. Hello, MBTA. Their roads are in great condition, for the most part. Hello, Weymouth and Four River Bridge and Quincy. And they actually obey traffic laws over in Europe. I'm already envisioning this topic taking over the entire first segment, but it has to be said. Drivers here are horrible, and they get worse every year. If I were czar for a day, I would make every driver in the United States, and people are horrible in other cities and towns too, make them have to re-qualify for your driver's license every single year. That's right, every year. If you're not aware, in Europe, there are a fraction the number of stop signs and signals. They don't have stoplights in a lot of places, they just have rotaries. And guess what? There are a fraction the number of accidents over there as well. Why? Because people pay attention. They realize that if you drive distracted or impaired, they could become a statistic. That lesson has been lost on Americans, and that's why we lose so many Americans to car accidents each year. But I'm getting sidetracked. The main topic within this topic is the road diet on Route 3A in Hingham, from the Lobster Pound restaurant in 3A to the Hingham Courthouse on Summer Street. On that stretch of road, there have been a handful of accidents and even a few fatalities, and I'm not making light of fatalities, but the numbers are not staggering. The numbers aren't even that compelling, except again for the fatalities. But a few residents who are trapped on their side street have been able to bend the ear of local government and made this a huge issue. Instead of suggesting that a light go in at the rotary, which is a horrible idea because rotaries are actually safer than intersections, and that the roadway be reduced to one lane, how about taking 2 or 3 steps to address the issues? Let's look at those. Here are the issues. Number 1, it's difficult to exit the roads lining Route 3A and Summer Street. Okay, no big problem. Number 2, there have been a few accidents from cars careening out of control and crossing the middle line, mostly caused by speed or distraction. And number 3, there is a lot of speeding on that same stretch of road. Instead of whining how fast people drive and the danger the roadway represents, let's actually solve this. I'm here with Jeff is here at your service to solve this problem. Cars going too fast? Lower the speed limit. Cars still speeding? Enforce the laws. The increase in ticket revenue will more than pay for the extra officers that might be needed to police this area more regularly. Cars crossing the center line? Enforce the distracted driving laws. We already have laws in this country. And explore the possibility of putting in a barrier along the center line to keep people from crossing over it. I've seen center line rumble strips used effectively in many areas across the country. Perhaps that could be a solution. Ultimately, instead of blaming the road design, let's be better drivers. Let's use the resources we already have and get some law-breaking drivers to obey existing regulations. In itself, that could keep accidents down and increase the level of courtesy along the road so residents can get out of their side streets. As an aside, if any of this soapboxing strikes a nerve or you have a counterpoint, get in touch with the show. I'd love to feature your thoughts on the air, maybe even have you as a guest on the show. Visit withjeff.com for contact info and an email link that goes right to the producer. He's over there. I don't get the emails, the producer does, so it's his headache. In the next segment, we talk with Jordan Hill, the frontman and star of the Hill Brothers Band. He's currently based in Plymouth, Mass, but plays all over the South Shore, and his brand of music is a bit folksy and fun. And I caught up with him in Portland, Maine, of all places, and found out what makes the Hill Brothers tick. So this is Jeff Cutler from the With Jeff show, and we're here at Sebago, which is a bar attached to the Hampton Inn, right, in downtown Portland. Talking with Jordan Hill about his gig tonight at Be Good, which is, when you go to Be Good, you think of Be Good as just a place you might go eat. But what's the deal? This is their flagship store?
Yeah, apparently, my brother is good friends with a guy that runs this place, and I think it was in late April we kind of converged on Portland and played a few hours there that evening, and so. They got in contact with us a few weeks later and said, hey, let's set up another time. So we're happy to be here. It's a nice kind of central location with Ryan being in Bangor, me being in Plymouth. It's a nice place for us to kind of come together and play.
You have a Portland background, don't you?
Yeah. So I did my schooling, my undergrad at St. Joseph's College of Maine, which is just up 302, up in Standish on Sebago Lake, and then for grad school, I was at the University of New England, which is right on Stevens Ave. So I spent a lot of time in the Portland area, the better part of 6 or 7 years. So still got a lot of friends around this area. So it's this is kind of like a little home away from home for me. So it's really neat to be able to play here and see some familiar faces.
Do you get a little more nervous when you're around everyone you know, people you grew up with or have seen, or is this just comfortable? It's like you're just jamming in someone's basement.
No, it's great. It's great. I had mentioned it when we were playing here before. I was like, this was probably one of the best gigs that we've ever played. It's pretty cool to look around a room and recognize every single face in the room. There's something pretty neat about that, and to see some faces that are coming from 3 or 4 hours away, to come see us play. And it's a humbling thing. It's really neat. It's not really, to me, it doesn't ever feel like a nervous thing. It's a lot of fun to do what we do for the people that we love. So,
speaking of a love for music, I guess, by itself and the people that you perform for, what are we going to hear tonight? What new stuff and what has inspired that? Or are you introducing stuff slowly just to build up your chops on that stuff?
Tonight we'll play a few original tunes. We've been playing a couple tunes, one called Staying Late, another one, Rain or Shine. we'll play those tonight. We may play a couple of other original tunes depending on how the flow of the night goes. We may toss those in, but for the most part, it'll be some of the typical covers that we've been doing. We play a lot of 90s stuff, a lot of early 2000s stuff that we grew up around. But we've got a good friend of ours, Lars Chaplin. He's going to play some lead guitar for us tonight, so that kind of opens up a few new avenues. We came up late last night and hung out at my uncle's place in Westbrook and jammed a few tunes, and we just, we sit around and we brainstorm some music, and if things come together, great, we throw it on the list. If not, we go on to the next thing. So we got a good mix of sounds tonight to play. We're really looking forward to it.
Very cool. What else is on the horizon as far as upcoming shows through the fall of 2017?
We've got a couple gigs coming up in Plymouth. August 26th and 27th. We'll be at Driftwood Cafe, or the Driftwood Public House, and Rye Tavern Saturday and Sunday, both afternoon gigs. We actually just booked a gig in Kingston at a place called Pins. It's right in the Kingston Mall, I believe, and so we're going to be playing on the main stage there. That'll be September 9th. That'll be 9:30 to 12:30. We're looking forward to that. I may break that up into a little three-set performance, maybe my brother and I, my brother and sister and I, and then maybe bring some friends up for a longer third set. So I'm excited about that. I just found out about it. I just kind of got it booked about a week ago, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to put anything, to solidify anything just yet. But I think we're going to have a really good time that night. So
That's fantastic. Thanks for talking with us today, and we'll see you tonight on stage.
Sounds great. Thanks for coming. It's called Staying Late. Hope you guys like it.
Sound the alarm, ring the bell. Let the clock strike 12 on this day from hell. The towels in the air, baby. You know damn well, you know damn well. Bartender, please. I'll have one more of these. Fill my cup with just enough. You bring me to my knees. Won't you please, bartender, please? Have a little faith in yourself. Much too early to put your dreams up on the shelf. Won't you have just stay a little more faith in yourself? When you're down, it feels like nothing's right. When you're tired, you got nowhere to fight. Reach out your hand, grab a hold of the one that's reaching out for you. Have a little faith in yourself. It's much too early to put your dreams up on the shelf. Won't you have to stay a little more faith in yourself? Bartender, please, I think I'm gonna be staying late tonight, and I'll let the drink on you have just won't you have just a little more faith in yourself? Thank you. Lars Chappell on guitar. Thank you so much.
It was so much fun being up in Portland to hear Jordan Hill and the band. And like I said, we're going to try and get him and the whole band in here for some acoustic music at some point. In fact, if I can make it worth their while, maybe the With Jeff theme song will be written and performed by Jordan Hill. And I may even accompany him on the banjo. That's where I'm going to leave it for today. If you liked what you saw on today's show, get in touch with us at With Jeff. This show is driven by whatever scampers across my mind and gets me onto a soapbox. Coming up in the next episode, I promise, we will examine why cats are better than dogs and a whole host of other interesting topics and stories. Be sure to join me.